Gaming is officially in the Olympics, at least according to International Olympic Committee. And before y'all are like, wait, hold on, man, is this like clickbait or what are you doing? Well, it's not necessarily clickbait. We're just making sure we're going to make this call accordingly. We're going to break down the reasonings as to why. It's definitely a no-brainer for esports, especially coming after a EVO weekend where it had the largest attendance in esports history. EVO, if you don't really know about the background of EVO, it's a fighting game event, the best ever in the world go to compete there, and it is the most popular, most mainstream fighting game, at least to the criteria of the niche genre of fighting games. Fighting games are very niche, so at least when it comes to gaming, and it doesn't get half as much of the viewership as like the Call of Duty aspect of everything, FPS, the Halos, the bigger titles. But when it comes to fighting games, EVO at least attempts their best and continuously evolve and adapt this event to try to push it as mainstream as it can without watering the cultural essence of fighting games. So EVO broke records throughout all esports this past weekend, and then we get an Olympic announcement for esports. Those are already back-to-back reasonings as to why it's a no-brainer that gaming will be in the Olympics. And another reasoning why as to gaming can be in the Olympics is because breakdancing, the OG essence of dance back in the 80s, it got approved for the Olympics. So if breakdancing can get approved for the Olympics, you know, the stuff that you see Eddie Gordo do, which is capoeira, which is essentially dance fighting, and somebody like myself who knows how to do capoeira and won championships in capoeira and breakdancing, we know the essence of how highly endeavored the breakdancing is. So the stuff that you see Eddie Gordo do in Tekken, while I transition from the Tekken essence being at EVO, and we have multiple world champions, we have Red Bull endorsing so much of these players. We saw Nike actually partner up with Tekken in recent times, which is also huge. So those are all massive variables as to why the Olympics is a no-brainer. On top of that, gaming has just been on such an incline when it comes down to popularity and totality. Much more streamers. It has become so much flooded with gamers that have aspirations to try to find multitudes of ways to make livings, not just being a pro gamer, which would lead to esports and this Olympic aspect and representation of the country. Speaking of representation, there's so much cultures and countries that come from around the world that do esports, especially in fighting games. Man, their sponsors, at least at the highest level, which is a very small percentage of pro players, their sponsors and their partners, they fly them out and help them out and house them to see how much they can represent that brand and really try to bring home some of the gold, or at least somewhat of a top 8 variable to help continuously promote the essence of gaming, the hard work and discipline it takes to at least play at a higher level. Fighting games are just no joke of games. By far the hardest niche in gaming, which is why it has the lowest viewership, because it's so hard to attain to that type of level, and it's hard to relate to a lot of those competitors because they do put in a lot of work, because you're reading and studying so much breakdowns of frames and directional outputs, inputs, what you're gonna do, defense. It's just like real life. You're going to the gym and you're sparring and you're trying to figure it out. So especially as gaming continuously evolves. So many things as to why the reasoning of gaming, at least esports, will be in the Olympics. I don't necessarily think casual gaming would ever make it, like say like your favorite, like I don't know, like I wouldn't say your favorite content creators, but I would say just content creation in totality. But I would definitely say gaming at the highest level, something what EVO has done today. And I think that really helped out the awareness of possibly this International Olympic Committee all voting yes for esports, because they saw how much people elevated the event. They saw how much, you know, spectators were like just willing to sit there and watch at least elite level gameplay. And those who were actually able to try and attempt those types of dreams and enter tournaments with some of the best to see how they rank. And some people got surprisingly top 100 out of like thousands, or top 64 out of thousands that we never thought would happen, and therefore also endorsed them to get more partnerships and awareness towards their brand. And same for me, someone like that who likes to play these games. I'm someone who would love to do that pretty soon, where I just start competing and traveling, which I would do back in the day for other things like fitness and dancing and you know, just all sorts of athletics And to be able to do that and transpire into a gaming virtue, it's huge for that. So gaming, no doubt, is going to definitely be in the Olympics, at least esports and the competitive notion of esports. Again, I said breakdancing was approved. So I don't see reasonings why. Evo this past weekend, breaking those records was so huge. It was monumental. There was streamers all over the place. There was, cosplay going on everywhere. It was a 3-day event. There was very familiar faces that were winning and that were creating this consistency and reputation, and then reputation on top of representation again, just whatever their outlook was and what they were repping for and what their movement entiles, and just what they want to involve with their mission and their philosophy of gaming. Now, gaming, when you look at gaming in hindsight, I know it's not like we're going to hard work or doing all this, but the discipline does have to, cater to that gamer, because there's just so much you have to do to play at the highest level, and you won't really understand unless you try. So I highly advise you try before you judge just esports being in the Olympics, because esports in the Olympics is well deserved, and the numbers don't lie. It was a lot of people. Sometimes the arena was so packed at Evo, like they had to wait for certain lines on certain days, especially the final day, and it was just insane. It was like an arena stadium where they're just like trying to get people in and running. It was so cool to really witness something like that. So it's only right that more of the mainstream audiences, something like the Olympics. Now, I know it could be kind of hard for this mainstream aspect, especially Olympics stuff, because it just depends on how much people are actually watching the Olympics at these times and days. Now, I know a lot of people will catch maybe live streams of the Olympics versus just watching it on OG television these days, unless you're like old school like me. But live streams on Evo were through the roof. There were 20,000 plus or over 100,000 viewers, like all across all platforms, that were just excited. And this was just one genre of gaming. This was the fighting game genre. The FGC is what we like to call it, the fighting game community. And it was only that genre. Can you imagine if events like this, now I know Call of Duty has a CDL, which is vastly popular too, to an extent, but if you can bring over that FGC and like maybe a CDL crossover with an Olympic type style, representing each other's countries, the best of the best in those countries, kind of like how they do it with their teams on the CDL aspect, those are huge cadences to be like, damn, like this is how you can put gaming on the map. And just kind of referring back to earlier where I was talking about gaming just is on this huge upstream since like I'd say like the pandemic, the COVID 2020, everybody really wanted to start streaming. Some people to this day have changed their lives and never went back to a regular job thanks to streaming. And it wasn't just streaming, it was overall YouTube. I was part of that movement. I'm in and out with it now because I do run a business, but people in 2020 like changed their lives, started streaming, decided like streaming like was starting to take off. So they started like really elevating their brand and expanding their brand everywhere, diversifying what they offer content wise or podcast wise. Until this day, people are still doing it, thankfully, to that huge spike in audiences to gaming in 2020, because nobody else, well, what the hell were we gonna do? So that's another thing to really look at with the Olympics also. To approve something like this, you can go back to a lot of analytics, such as what happened this past weekend at Evo, breakdancing being approved. If a dance could be approved for Olympics, then no doubt that this can be, because the amount of money, the amount of awareness, the amount of endorsements already, such as Red Bull, Nike, etc., are all involved in this. Chipotle is always involved in things like this. And then you could look at how when everybody had nothing else to do, the majority of the world was either gaming, watching gaming, or doing something like that before a lot of the media really caught on to, platforms like TikTok and everything like that. So there's just so much in accordance as to why it's going to be a no-brainer that esports will be part of the Olympics. And I am so excited about that, you all, because the Olympics will help out more. What was known in our time back in the 90s, gaming wasn't seen as this cool thing where you can make money off of, where you can create, we can do all this. And thanks to social and technological platforms such as today with YouTube, with me speaking to you all, I'm able to just share stories and information and education. It's the same thing with gaming. We're able to actually live stream and put content out there. Now, it is a scary notion at times, because you will get criticized, you will get doubted, just like as athletes would, right? Like people will always criticize it. But as long as you're trying to share your true word and everything, and whatever you're trying to do and what you rep in gaming, and trying to the highest level as an athlete would, that's why they call it esports, hence esports. It is really cool what you can conclude with and what you can come out with, man. And that conclusion being that I feel Olympics is gonna look at it, although it's only the International Olympic Committee right now. It's gonna go onward and onward, and just be like, man, you can just think about it, man. You can look back at Evo, how many countries are in the building. You can go to the other bigger tournaments like Combo Breaker. Look how many countries were in the building, and just a national aspect on a platform like something like Las Vegas. Then Evo also has a Japan one, and Combo Breaker was in the USA, I believe Chicago, and you could just see like all of these, like, damn, like. It's a no-brainer we can do that. Companies already endorsed. A lot of people watch across all platforms. This is just one genre of gaming, and we could see the spike of gaming and the popularity of gaming since how much people have made an extraordinary living since then. I, for one, and can attest to that. I'm not even a massive creator, but we have made livings no matter how big or small, and you could just see the value it does help. Now, it does make a lot of sense when it is the higher level of gaming, though. Let's make note of that. You're not gonna just like share a video and then boom, you're in the Olympics, right? It's something, or you're not just playing video games. You're playing at the 0.00001% of like the highest credible levels of all your favorite ones that do these LAN events. Of course, you want to avoid any type of cheating at Olympics and all that stuff. So I'm excited. Y'all let me know what's up. Are y'all excited for gaming being the Olympics? It's a no-brainer. Trust me. And I can't wait. It's going to be so cool. No longer will gaming be any type of laughing stock, because it is going to continuously take over as technology continuously advances, and we are now in the future. I appreciate y'all. Peace.